Okay, cool. So lights are on.
Yay!
So we just had our so welcome to the call up time. Even though we're already after the comedy show, so there's no call up, but
No more call
there are
up.
no more call up. So yeah, we both perform our set for a longer format. You did say previously that your longer format you wanted to do or try something different with it for your comedy set.
Yeah, so what I want to use for longer form mics, like let's say 15 to 20 minutes, is for me to mine materials. Yes.
Oh, okay. So you want. Wait, are you mining materials from the crowd reaction or mining materials in your materials?
From the crowd reaction.
Okay.
Because
okay.
I mean, of course, I have an idea of usually when I write a comedy bit, I kind of like have an idea that this is funny. And then it's a matter of making it like funnier to the audience. So I need to figure out what is the point of interest. So using their laughter, that's where I will catch the point of interest and then maybe can expand from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I do. And I'm also quite sick of doing my older material, so I rather like use the longer form to like explore more things I can talk about.
Okay. But so you don't find material in the crowd, as in like you yourself have already material. You just want to test out that material whether it's funny or not. Because I know some comedians would actually they would go on stage and then do crowd work, and that's where they get their material. I think for your side, you're most likely to do you test out new material. If it's good, then you think it's you think that material is funny.
Yep.
Okay. So other than that, what do you feel about tonight's show?
I felt that it's very, it's fun because I'm able to like kind of like tell my funny story. At least that's what I think, and get what I want. Then I will go home and just like process it over, like maybe listen to the recording to see what can I do with the bit in the future. Because in most of the other open mics where there's only 4 to 5 minutes, I will have to condense them. So that's where I can like condense my materials and find better ways of shaping them into stand-up material. Yeah, but it was fun because all 4 audience, small number, but then they are very open.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Is the crowd number, which is only 4 people today, is it enough for like a litmus test for your material, or do you need more crowds for your material?
Of course, the more the merrier. But then
that's what every comedy show wants to strive for. The more the merrier.
Yes.
So please support local comedy. Please
come out. Come out.
So yeah, okay. Yes. So yeah.
But still, I think even like 4 people, I think it's still valid if let's say they are laughing, because if I can make a smaller number of audience laugh, then bigger audience I will have problems. Yeah, that is my hope as always.
Yeah, I think that's where, I mean, I don't want to point fingers, but to me personally, I feel like certain comedians, they want a larger crowd just because it's a larger crowd. But then if you have a smaller crowd, that's where you actually know your material is funny or not. Yeah. Because in my experience running shows and basically running shows that is called, Rizal and Geza actually teach me there's a laughter domino. So he said that in a crowd you need to like pack them up, because if one person laugh and laughter is infectious and then the other person laugh, so it doesn't necessarily mean that your material is bad, but if it's not tested out, if it's not tested out in a small crowd, you won't know that material is. Where was I about comedy? Yeah. Normally big crowds, I mean, if it's funny, it's hilarious. You can hear the room shakes. Yes. But if it's like a small crowd, you don't know what's funny. But if everybody laughs, you know that thing is funny.
Correct. Yeah.
Do you have to adjust your material to small crowds, to big crowds?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, how so?
Because big crowd, I can address to, like, address as a whole. Yeah. Like, your audience, But then when it's smaller, that's when, I need to start to connect with them. But tonight I didn't, because James already done the crowd work, and then you have also done enough. So for me, it's no point me getting to know the name of the 4 people again.
Yeah.
But then if I'm standing on my own, like in Edinburgh shows, where yes, 4 people is very common. In fact, I've performed to 1 person before, like less than 1 hand I also got. So it's normal. But then that's when I have to adjust. The first thing they come in, I cannot just launch like, everybody, I'm Juliana Heng, I have autism, blah, blah, blah. I cannot do that. I need to at least ask them like, hi, thank you for coming. What's your name? Where are you from? Just very basic. And then after that only I will like launch to my program, because it will be so weird. And I learned that on my 3rd day of my show, where I didn't do any of that. It's only 3 audience. I just went off stage and and then they were very disconnected with me. Like they're not laughing, they're not really listening, and they go off, and then that's all. Like they just say, oh, this is just another show, because I didn't make the effort to connect.
Yes.
But the next day, I learned my lesson quickly, and I just do the minimal, just where are you from? Yeah, then it makes a difference. Even though it's small number, they appreciate that you sort of like talk to them, like care about them.
Okay. So I guess that's the cons of doing Fringe.
Yeah.
What are the pros in doing cringe? Cringe. Fringe. So I'm cringe myself. But,
okay, the pros of doing Fringe is you get audience from all walks of life, and they are very open. They have seen different kind of art like theatre, poetry, drag, and comedy. Although 90% of the shows there are all stand-up comedy shows, but then they are very open because they know that there are other production, and when they come in with an open mind, like, this is a Fringe show, anything can happen. So they are not like, I need you to make me laugh only, not like you can make them cry too, they are fine. They are very open.
So the audience is very different to what you get here in Malaysia.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, different countries have different audience member and different types of style of humor as well. I remember the only place I perform overseas is just Singapore. It's just over the border. But then I've bombed twice, so I've never killed in Singapore. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So any other experience that you want to share, like when you did Fringe, that you hold? I mean, what's your communication with other comedians during Fringe, or do you not engage with another comedian?
I think most of the time the other comedians are also very busy doing their own shows, so it's a bit hard to like really like get connected to them, because even when we do line-up shows, it's usually just for us to plug our solo shows.
Yeah.
So they were like, everybody will like do a short 5-minute set, and they will plug in their show, and then after that some of them may leave. They want to go to another line-up show to plug their shows again. So I don't even get to like catch them. So it's a bit sad, because like unless I know their name, I can at least catch them on Instagram. But if I don't, then it's just another comedian that I don't know lah. So that is possible, because everyone there, they are very focused on their goals. So sometimes they can be a bit hard to connect with. But it's fine, because everyone has their own agenda in the Fringe. And it is okay, because there will be your clique of people who you can identify. It need not be many, but some of them who click is like, until now you can still like keep in touch with them, like and some of them even ask me, hey, are you coming back to Edinburgh this year? I say not yet, but then when I do, I will definitely hit you up. So you form long-lasting friendships with those you manage to connect. But there will be a lot of people touch and go, and you just move on lah. It's okay, because everybody is one way or another rushing around.
So when you said your material has changed because you need to force yourself to do crowd work to connect to the audience, do you feel your material has changed from then until now?
I think it has changed mildly, but then the fundamental, like the core materials have not changed. It's just that the way I start to present is not so, like I try to be more fluid now. Like even if I say I mess up the sequence or anything, I don't get like flustered, yes, or anything. I felt like, okay, it's fine, let's move on from there. And also, I'm not intimidated performing to small audience. Like when I come back from Edinburgh, like even when I see like some of our shows only 3-4 people, I'm not like last time, like, no one will laugh at my jokes. No, I'm like, it's okay. I mean, we will make that work, you know. So, and also in Edinburgh, one more thing very interesting is people who are similar to me will be in my show as well, like autistic, non-binary. And that's when I need to also like connect with them as well. Because a lot of the jokes I tell are targeted to neurotypical people or even like straight people. And but over there, it's like there are too many people who are like me. So I have to like also figure out like how do I tailor it for them. So the delivery is slightly different. And for me, it's like, I remember that time they were wearing a sunflower lanyard.
Yes.
That's for hidden disability. And that's when the moment I saw them walking in with that, I will always ask them, hey, mind sharing what is your disability?
Okay.
And they will say autism or ADHD or a few others, hearing as well, hard of hearing. So then from there, I will also tailor, because if I hear that someone who has autism, then I avoid like raising my voice up just for, like, even for effect. I try to change the emphasis. So I'm not like hurting their ears, or even like, let's say if I want to bang the table, I choose not to. I'm just like, okay, let's move on. Don't need to bang the table and all. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that's very, I wouldn't say tiring, but I feel like that's very, the word for it is very detailed in what you do, because even though you do stand-up comedy, you need to appeal to the masses.
Yeah.
But the way your material is structured is like at Fringe, it's more catered, I would say. So what if, like, for example, if you're in a crowd and every single person has a different disability, do you have to like cater to your material based on the disability? So you have to like immediately, let's say for example, someone has autism, someone maybe have, you know, anything in the spectrum. Do you have to like address every single individual spectrum, or do you just cast a wide net and see what happens?
Usually I will just cast a wide net, because I don't have that much time to like go like deep with everybody. Yeah. And usually jokes are meant to be written as like universal. That means if I'm just talking about spectrum, regardless of where you are on the spectrum, it's fine. I mean, you can relate, or either you don't relate, it's fine. It's okay. Yeah. I'm not really in for you to tell me like, oh no, this is not funny to me. It's fine. I mean, because my material is, I always feel, is a bit of an acquired taste.
Yes.
So
agreed.
not everybody will like it.
Yeah.
Or either it grows on them. That means they have to listen to me a few times. Then only my style will grow on them. So for me, I just need to focus on doing my job, custom as much as I can. But if I can't, I will just draw the line and then I'll just move on.
Yeah, I think that's where you and I like share a common understanding, is that like jokes are, for certain people, is acquired. So certain people have their own sense of humor.
Yes.
And if I would like, some comedians would, you know, actually come up to me and say, hey, how did my material went? And I couldn't talk about their own material, because to me personally, I believe if you feel that's funny, that's funny to you. I'm not a person to judge what's funny or not.
Yes.
But I can give comments about the energy that you're giving in the room. I can give your delivery, how basically that you conduct yourself on stage, your engagement with the audience. I can gauge that, because is something like quite universal as well.
Yes.
Because to me personally, like if you do stand-up comedy, if you watch all the international acts, the material won't translate to Malaysian humor.
Yeah.
So they won't translate to something that is very, it's something not localized.
Yes.
But their delivery, their energy, their connection with audience, that is something very easily to translate.
Yes.
No matter if you're like from Zimbabwe or like me, or like, you know, USA, or like anywhere you're in the continent, I believe that the energy itself that you put out will reflect on what it is.
Yes.
But yeah, I know you've previously informed that you have autism, and it's hard for you to read the crowd.
Yeah.
How do you normally adjust read the crowd if you have autism?
I think for me is, instead of like saying that, I mean, I may have trouble reading the crowd, but I don't want to be like, okay, fuck, reading the crowd is all right. You know, like I can't do it, I'm not going to bother. For me is, I feel that we all have a capacity to grow. Yeah. So it may not be, I mean, autism doesn't mean that you don't have the skill. It's not inbuilt. That means like what most neurotypical people have, they can read people, they understand, they say like cognitive empathy, like they understand, they have no problem with that. And myself, I'm like I may be clumsy in that, like I cannot read, and then I may end up butting in the wrong time in conversations, or even like saying inappropriate stuff or awkward, just create awkwardness.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't mean that I can grow. I cannot grow. It doesn't mean I cannot grow. I can still grow. That means I just need to put in more effort. Yeah, like maybe like be more attentive. That means if let's say there's something the audience like mention or anything, I can always pick up on it and play on it. Like rather than like, nah, it's okay, I can't read, I don't bother. Like something is happening around me, but I just don't bother. It's like be open to that. But whether I can catch it or not is another thing. But once I do catch it, I will try to make use of it. So I think that's the most important thing, regardless of what different ability you have.
When you say grow, what do you mean by like grow? Grow into a full-fledged comedian, or like grow into what exactly in your own words?
I think personal growth, more like it.
Oh, okay, so
like that means it's like doesn't mean that you have autism means that's it. I am screwed for life. I cannot read the audience, so I don't need to bother. Like it's not true. It's like it's not inbuilt, so I just have to put more effort to learn that. It needs to be something I learn, and even though I may not reach the capacity of someone who is neurotypical, it's fine. At least I make progress. Yeah.
Okay, so all right, do you see yourself being good on stage as part of you growing yourself as in a full-fledged comedian who's also autistic, or is it the other way around?
I want to like slowly kind of like transition, like slowly, like okay, at first yes, I can be known as the autistic comedian, but eventually I want to shift to be like okay, like be more like find more common grounds of like apart from autism, what makes me click with other people. Like it's not like I'm just autistic. I mean it's like yes, it's good to use that as an introductory piece. Like let's say I do Walking on Spectrum, my solo show, that's me introducing to people like who I am. But if I do want to like write a second solo show, it should not be about autism already. It should be something like different, that's something that can click with people, like maybe about my work life, or about my relationship, like something more relatable. Yeah, because I noticed that even for the comedians, the Netflix comedians, it's the same thing. The first year they can talk about how gay they are, or how, like, let's say they have a disability, they can talk about, make fun of all their disability. But when it comes to the second show, it's usually something quite different. They won't like do what is like they have already moved on and leave what they have addressed behind, and they move on to address bigger things. And I want to actually like move towards that. But first, I need to look for a problem, to solve. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I stumbled upon a couple of issues with that as well. Like when I did my material, it's mostly about me being Malay and Indian, which is Mama.
Yeah.
But then I realized that I wanted to do something a bit more different than that. I wanted to do something a bit more personalized. And that's why I started to doing material about me being an orphan. And I can relate why comedians are shedding off.
Yep.
I wouldn't say like shedding off, but more like moving forward towards what they think is very basic in a sense, and then to something a bit more personal and wanting to connect to the audience and getting their own point of view. So they wanted to associate themselves as more of an individual that they want to connect to the audience. I mean, I get that. Talking about that, you also have done your hour special, right?
Yeah.
How many hour special have you done?
Just do once, but then many reruns. Because I like molding it. Even an hour, I like molding it. I think I did like during the pandemic at least 100 times because there are so many virtual festivals around. And live, I think within 20. But then over in Edinburgh, I did about 20 plus, 21.
20 plus.
Yeah, because 2 days no audience come, cancelled show.
So did you do 21 hours of material on stage? Sorry,
not all comedy. It's since it's a medley show, so usually I say, okay, 30 minutes is comedy. I always dog aside 30 minutes for comedy. And then 5 minutes is my standard poetry on autism. And finally, the last part is a storytelling. The storytelling, I already mentioned at the get-go that this is not comedy. So, if they laugh, it's purely coincidental. Because different people find different things funny. But then for me, it's not necessary because it's not stand-up format. And that's what I do. And of course, there are people who ask me like, will you actually transform what you have in your storytelling to stand up? I say I will have to see first, because you also want to have emotional connection with the content that you're sharing. But also at the same time, when talking about dysfunctional family, I first need to be truly over them first.
Yeah.
But if I'm not, then yes, I can write the jokes, but whether it land or not, it may not, because audience can sense that you are still very emotionally unsafe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they wouldn't want to laugh, even though the joke is structured well.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's why I say that one, I need to think, even if it takes another 10 years for me to, before I can even find an angle to talk about them, I will wait, it's fine. It's still part of my life. There's no need for me to force it to make it a stand-up format.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I could, I mean, it depends on how the comedians view on it as well. You're right. I mean, when I did my orphan bit, I wouldn't say I was over about it, but I was, when I started writing the orphan bit, I started to realize and accept the fact that, you know, my dad passed away when I was young and everything happened with my mom. And I mean, it could be like, it could be therapeutic writing about your material and then performing.
Yeah.
And I remember those are very heavy topics, especially dysfunctional families. And it's something that some people, you know, they came from a nice family, they couldn't relate to. And it's sometimes a bit jarring for them.
Yeah, it is. They get like shocked.
Yeah.
And then often they will come over and say, I'm so sorry for what. That's all they can say most of the time. I'm sorry that you have to go through this. You know, I'm like, my heart, I'm like, no, I don't need you to feel sorry. I want you to laugh. You know, that's more important, you know. Just that the thing is, when you still have like a dark cloud on top of you, it's a bit hard to actually like still make things funny. Yeah. So I think I will have to wait a bit more. Yeah. Things do become better, because the thing is, I also felt that like I come back from Edinburgh probably because doing 20 days of like my solo show where I talk about my parents for 20 days, and I was like thinking like
how was that? How was that experience when you talk about your parents?
My parents and my brother and all like, okay, there's whole dysfunctional family. For me, is at first I'm like, like a lot of like hatred, you know, like that's where you can channel to make it a dramatic story. Yeah. But then after the 20 days, I felt that like came back to Malaysia, I feel like I don't hate my parents that much anymore. That's a funny thing. So, which is why like people like ask me, do you still want to do a rerun of your show? I'm like, I will if you hire me to do it. I can look at it from an actor's angle. That means like just channel the emotion just for muscle memory and all. But then do I want to do it in like on my own accord, like put up a show and then even if it lost money, nobody's supporting and all, I just put on, I say no. Because I think I have grown from there. Like, I feel that I've already moved on. Yeah, which is a good thing, you know, like I think I'm feeling like a bit more like I felt like, hey, there's some healing, you know, maybe I talk to people over like 20 days, so things do get better, and I'm like, I mean, of course we are not in the ready position to reconcile, but then I don't feel like hatred towards them anymore.
I think I also, you know, strive when I did that material. And it clicks. Like you get satisfaction from laughter, that's another one. But I realize that you also get satisfaction from, like the audience, I get this, but you've gotten like the time where audience member like perk their eyes up, their ears. I was like, that's really true. Yes. Yeah, that's a rare occurrence again. And I believe that it's something magical to actually do that for an audience. Laughter is another one. That's fine. That's your job, is to make them laugh. But to make them have like an epiphany, that's like, I was like, it's like I'm having goosebumps for some reason. All right, Juliana, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for having me.
This is call up time. Even after his comedy show. So
we can be flexible.
Do tell when's your next show and everything. Hopefully it'll be out next week.
My next show is on this Friday.
Okay, then it will be out this week.
It's okay, it's alright, you know. But follow my social media at MX Juliana Heng. That's where I post all my shows. Thank you.
MX Juliana Heng, thank you so much. You can follow me at Daniel Shom Comedy. And see you guys. Good night.